Hi guys, good morning. Start with a book read. It says, you are a bright energy and color uplifts you. You love unique colors. They make you happy. You are a bright energy and color uplifts you. For many years in your past color, it did not feature you like it does today. You have so much to give. Be proud of yourself. You have come a long way, and you will continue to do so. Be the love that others need. The more love you give, the more love you receive. Endless, ever-flowing cup of beauty that brings joy to not only your heart, but the world. You are a true gift to mankind, humankind, all of nature, and the animals can feel your love. When dogs look at you and come to you, they can see and feel this love. It is reassuring to them that love is here and in boundless quantities. This is an additional message. Come here, Hazel. I love you so much. You're so cute. You are the love you want to see in others. The world needs your love, and you are giving it freely. Your journey is your true purpose. Love and blessings, dear one. Be loved. I love you. I love you. Thank you for your kisses. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love you, princess. Where's your ball? Did you lose it? That's nice for me for a second. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Good morning. Okay. Says you're unlimited, and what you create is unlimited right now. Says remember, love is the key, but in the reverse. Some of you guys might be taking a break from love at this time. Focus on yourself, to focus on what you can create. He says you have a very sensitive antenna and intuition right now, and that you're picking up a lot of energy around you. And so I just heard right now that if you're feeling out of your alignment or a sense of just anxiety, some of you guys might be feeling anxious right now, and just a little bit of a higher elevation of feelings and emotions. And I heard that it may not be coming from you, and maybe from people that are around you that feel that way. And so you might need to clear your space and sanitize. I'm going to do that today. And just really just keep in mind that every object that is tangible carries energy, and if people around you are stressed out, that energy will carry off into you and into your space and linger. So it's really important that you guys just know what you're messing with and what they're into and what they have going on, and take the time to, if you can, just kind of run a little information, look a little further into the people around you that you're dealing with, because a lot of people have faces and expressions and demeanors that appear to be okay, but they could be carrying a lot of sorrow inside and a lot of guilt and a lot of pain, and you could be their feel better person. And so basically, I just heard they're gonna get what they want. They're trying to get what they want, and you don't want to be in that situation. If you don't have the right kind of like emotional stability and mental health and understanding about what you're feeling and what's happening around you, then you could end up making yourself believe that what you feel is coming from you, and you may be trying to search inside of yourself, figuring out why you feel the way that you do and blaming yourself. And you might even be describing it like, man, I feel icky. I don't feel good today. I don't know what's going on. Some of you guys could be having headaches, anxiety, body aches, muscle aches. You could be tired. Some of you may not be sleeping well. You could be tossing and turning. This is the energy that you have in connection with another person. And so you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to turn that negative into a positive. And no relationship needs to be ended. It just needs to be understood. And you just got to understand that every relationship and every person that you come across is just a sight, just like anything else we see. It's a feeling, it's a smell, it's an experience. And the amount of power that we give that experience, you do have control over. You don't have control over what happens around us all of the time, but we have a very powerful mind. And when the brain goes through something, the first thing it does is it sees it or smells it, and the brain will get a message or a signal, and it reacts. If the scene is unfamiliar, or if it looks like it might be dangerous or stressful, like, your brain's going to send a signal, and it's going to tell the body that it needs to either fight or flight. I have a third one that I added to that. I say we either fight, flight, or do what's right. And I really believe that. I believe we all act differently. We're all made differently, and that's why people can't just always all do the same thing, when they have a situation. And when we understand everybody's different, we no longer expect each other to be acting a certain way or the same. And when we don't have to act the same, we are unlimited, because we can be our true authentic self. All is at your fingertips in the reverse. And remember, love is the key in the reverse. So those two are the only ones in the reverse. As far as you go, you are an empath. You do have a sensitive antenna, and you have a lovely heart. You're a very beautiful person. But it looks like some of you guys could be in a possible relationship with somebody who might be heavy-hearted. And they bring that pain out into the surface, and they put it out on people. And I felt like when I was talking at the beginning of the read, to be honest, this person, like I said, they're going to get what they want. That came out, get what I want, I'm getting what I want. And they will use you, and they will manipulate you to do that. They need to release and relieve. So you're that thing for them. Or somebody might be that thing for you. And if you're aware at any time ever that where you're headed isn't looking the same as it was at any time before, communicate that information with whoever it is that you're involved in, because that's fair and just. And the universe doesn't expect us to stay in any situation that is not serving us. But what they do expect from us, our gods, our higher powers, is for us to be honest with others and with ourselves, and to follow directions. And a lot of times we're placed in relationships for the purpose of a learning experience. A light worker's heart is beautiful and good, and it's going to love everyone. And there are reasons why certain connections are stronger than others, and it's because we have a lesson usually to learn out of that experience, or they do. And when we experience such a powerful connection, we believe it might be soulmate energy or true love energy. And you really got to use your discernment and divide everything up and ask yourself, from the experience that occurred, was I meant to learn something? Were they meant to learn something? Or did we end up being best friends or together forever? There's always a good reason. Exactly. You are here for a purpose in the reverse. Sometimes you feel real bummed out. And I want you to lift your chin up. You're beautiful. I don't want you to feel that way, okay? Walk your own journey in the reverse. Again, it just seems like some of you guys might be in a controlling relationship, possibly. It looks like for who you are personally, it looks like you're just kind of like being held hostage by a devil toxic energy. You know, it's the same thing. You're hostage right now. And your heart is begging. It's that feeling inside of your heart when you feel like you're being heartbroken or everything's just real agonizing is actually your higher power trying to protect you. It's trying to guide you. It's trying to talk to you. And you know it is. When you're crying and you feel like you're alone and you're thinking within your head about what's going on and you're coming up with these different conclusions and stuff, you know, whether even when it's the times when you're like, I think he's cheating or she's cheating, and you look into it. That's you and your higher power and your higher self helping yourself figure things out. You're actually built just fine to do that. We've become dependent on another person in this world, and we're not supposed to have another person that we idolize over our higher power, and not ourselves either. It's not conceited of you whatsoever to put yourself first. And if you don't do that, you just, you know, think about the examples in the airplane when the flight attendant specifically tells you if the plane's going down, you need to put your own face air mask on first. Because if you don't do that, you will die and you won't be able to save whoever it is that you're panicking over. And energy is so strong and it's so fastly polluting. And no matter how strong you are, when you're around a toxic environment, it can take less than a month. It can take one big experience. I mean, when you're in bad environments, a lot of crazy things happen, and trauma occurs, and PTSD occurs, and abuse occurs, and things spiral out of control very quickly, and it's very sporadic, and you don't ever know what exactly anybody's going to do. And there's weapons, and there's just crazy stuff. And you're influenced a lot to do, I mean, crazy things, bro. And we were not raised by our parents to do that, always. Some were. But some kids actually get out and they don't use drugs ever, and they don't party never. So, you know, people are just, you know, they're honestly a victim of circumstance. But you don't have to be a victim after you are smart enough to understand. You stopped being a victim the day you, in your head, even as a child, thought, what you do to me ain't right. This is not right, you thought. I don't like you. I hate you. I don't feel good. You felt that. And I want you to just be honest and think back to when you realized. I could say I was easily 4 years old. I remember a specific conversation going on between me and my mom, and I remember her talking, and I just kept staring at her face and her nostrils and her mouth, and I remember just looking at every specific feature and watching every face muscle move as she spoke her opinion about the world. And I knew even from 4 years old that that was just her opinion. And I'm really grateful that God made me the way that he did. And I know that it can come off different at times to many people, and they're not very accepting a lot of times when you're pure and when you're fun and when you're authentic and when you don't fit in with society or follow what society's doing, or, you know, maybe you're not a trend follower. Maybe you don't like the same gender. Maybe you do. I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter. So many people have so many expectations and rules that it's really become confusing for everybody. But that's where you don't have to listen at all out loud anymore. You can put your earplugs in. If you got somebody or some people in your house that are fighting and screaming and you have to listen to it, go grab yourself a pair of earplugs. Equate has a good set. They're really cheap. I think they're like $10 for like 200. It's a crazy good deal. I can't personally be around noise that I don't want to hear. And so one of my strategies actually is always an earplug. I bring earplugs with me everywhere I go. I can't seem to sleep if I'm anywhere without, I don't want to hear no noise. It's disruptive to me. And it was also a method that I used when I had an alcoholic boyfriend who raged every night pretty much. And I would just let my hair down. Some of you guys, if you guys have long enough hair, and then if you can turn yourself at a specific angle, if you can even get earplugs that maybe aren't bright orange, I don't know what, but the earplugs actually worked really well for me while dealing with a raging, screaming person. When you're dealing with somebody that is going through episodes of rage, they don't stop. There's no explaining to them that this is not okay. Please stop. The kids are home. You know, you're going to get in trouble. We're going to get, what are you doing? The cops are going to, you know, and for hours you can beg somebody who's in an episode to please calm down, and they don't. But what they do is get worse and more reactive based off of how many times you react towards them. And it's a tricky situation. So as you transition yourself out of environments that might be very disruptive, and if somebody's like talking down to you, and they do this often, try the headphone or the earplugs, because if the longer they don't know they're in your ear, if you can watch your face expressions and just not make any negative, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, okay? Because you almost have to have this face that looks like you're actually listening to them. And the things that they're saying are crazy rude, like really bad stuff. But if you can get, and I know that you should leave or call the police, but there's times when we can't and don't. There's times you don't even realize that what the kind of abuse that you're going through is actually physical, or I mean, you don't even consider yourself abused. Maybe some of us have been worse abused. And so we compare each abuser. We'll say, well, I mean, it could have been worse. That guy, you know, that I was with this other guy and he did this, and you know, this guy, he only does this. Like, he only screams at me. The other guy smashed my window out of my car or something. You know what I mean? You might be comparing relationships. I know I realized that about myself. And for 7 years into this particular relationship that I'm talking about, I actually didn't consider myself to be abused, because I had went through abuse my whole life from the hands of everybody that was supposed to love me. And it wasn't until I became a teacher and a cosmetologist and worked on clients and heard the stories of their own lives that I realized there was many ways to live life. And I remember actually talking to my students even about abusive relationships and coaching them and guiding them to safety, and really that mattering to me. And I just, one night this was going on again, and I'd tried many methods, and nothing was working. And that's why now I just drop it like it's hot if it doesn't seem right immediately. Because when you get those feelings that, oh my gosh, this is wrong, or this is not okay, it only gets worse after that, guys. And if you're in relationships that are not going well, you need to be strong and you need to release it. But to get through some of those nights, I would wear either my headphones and listen to music, but that one really didn't work so good. I usually would have those ripped out of my ear and broken. But the earplugs were a little smaller, and I used those, and I was able to have a just kind of a listening type of face expression, and he would be raging. And basically it was an energy where I could see that if I had the right face and convinced him that he was getting by with what he was saying, he would kind of say it. And I don't know, maybe it was just the fact that you don't say nothing back when they're done, that maybe they felt like they got that last word in. And you can let them have the last word because you didn't hear a damn word. And it didn't hurt you. And you can actually manage quite a bit better in an environment when you can't hear what's going on, because you already know what the people are around you are doing most of the time and how they're going to be and how they're going to act. So nothing that you're going to ever do is going to please these type of people. You're never going to make them happy, because nobody makes another person sad because any people may not. I'm rude. I say blunt things and I make a lot of people sad, but I really don't intentionally like mean to hurt them, but I do see how I hurt people. Some people intentionally actually get off on hurting other people and they thrive on it. And you know, when as sad as it can make somebody who feels icky when people are fighting, it's the opposite for the people that like it. That power and that intensity and that pain that it makes you feel, it makes them feel that much happiness. And I know it seems weird, but that's just truth. Some people's brain is made to actually feel pleasure from other people's pain. And I can break this down for you real quick before I go get a cup of coffee, but there's 3 types of brain that actually enjoy bringing pain upon another person. The first one is a psychopath. Psychopath was born that way. Their brain did not become altered from things on earth. It can become worse, but it was actually born the way that it was. And a psychopath's brain basically is missing the section that feels bad for doing things that are bad. It doesn't have a section of the brain. It's missing. It was never there. It's like you being born with 4 toes. You never had a big toe. You wouldn't fucking know what it felt like to have one. So you can't even technically, if you cannot even really say a lot about that right there. I believe psychopaths were made that way to come down and disrupt just as much as light workers if they were made that way. God doesn't make mistakes, and so they have a duty on earth that we as not psychopaths can allow them to just handle. Jeffrey. But, you know, that's not my thing. I'm glad I wasn't born technically that way. I do have psychopathy, I'm sure, in me. Psychopaths are just very, there are many different personality types. Why am I smiling when I say psychopath? I'm such a fucking psychopath. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's move on because I'm not going to reveal my true colors. Okay. So the next one that we're going to skip. Okay, no, we'll just go in order. Okay. Okay, so why do I smile so much when I talk about psychopaths? This is crazy. I feel really bad right now. I am definitely a psychopath or something. Okay, so, the next one is a sociopath, and I feel the worst for sociopaths out of everyone because sociopaths pretty much dated a psychopath at one point, or an abuser. So sociopaths pretty much dated an abuser. And while they were being abused, they grew up or around this person, whether it's in love or even a family member. They grew up just feeling this wrath and this feeling of hate, like anybody would. When somebody's so rude to you and you just hate being around them and you hate going home to them and you hate the things they say to you and you dread it. So basically a sociopath was not somebody who was able to break free from the chains of their controller. Emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, or physically. They stayed bonded and binded, which put them into the 8 of Swords energy, and that's really the worst place you could possibly be. It's a very dark and deep and hate. It's a fucking terrible depression, and you're just trapped in your own mental mindset, and all you can do is just think about all the shit that's going on, and you hate it, and you don't do anything to do it. They never leave. They never left. Sociopaths typically, don't overcome the anger that they have or the trauma. And they also may not ever tell anybody what happened exactly truthfully. They might keep quite a bit of chunks and stuff to themselves of the story. May not have ever gotten help for it. They have shame because they were told they feel they have abandonment issues. I mean, they have so much. So a sociopath basically is like a wannabe psychopath because they do things that are painful to people based off of, they're the type of saying that say hurt people hurt people. They're wounded souls. And so they feel like because they were hurt, other people need to be hurt too. This is where you'll see narcissistic mothers and shit come in next. It's straight up, sociopath is, it's an envious, jealous, with respect, weak person who stayed in an abusive situation and didn't get the proper help for it and was not able to overcome the mental mind trap that they were left in. And so time passed and they aged, but the trouble and the trauma that makes them the bitter, hateful self that they are left them feeling insecure and questioning their own worth and if they were even worth anything at all. And the fact that they never pursued their dreams and that they focused on a relationship that abandoned, they were abandoned, they were left. Because we don't get to stay in toxic relationships. You can stay as long as you can do it, but no universal energy in a positive manner is going to allow you to really thrive in an abusive situation. And when you're crying and you're praying and you're begging God to help you and you're saying, I'm so broke and I need money and this motherfucker walked out on me and I don't have diapers and then he come back and you want to fuck him or you want to be with him, that's disrespect to the whole world, to yourself, to the universe, to what you prayed for. And basically, you know that. Sociopaths know that. They're not like psychopaths. They do actually feel guilt. They feel shame and guilt. But they blame typically. Same with narcissists. The sociopaths are the wounded ones, man. They're the fucking angry, bitter, smart people that really, I feel like, are just mad that they didn't have what they wanted. But they didn't have the strength to do it. And so they just never evolved. And then we have narcissists, which has many different kinds. There's the regular narcissist that everybody assumes is just smiling like a donut over there, just big grandiosity, very confident, cocky, thinks they're amazing, that stuff. But then there's ones called victim narcissists. Victim narcissists believe they're empaths, and those are the ones that pretend to be the peacemaker or the member of the group of the family or friends that doesn't want to get involved in the fight. I'm not choosing sides. I don't even want to get involved. But that person on the low started the problem. That's the person. So the victim narcissist will pretend like there's problems going on in their relationships, and they will basically, they're the ones that pretend to be empaths. They act like they don't want to fight with nobody. They care about peace, but literally they're slimy little snakes, and they instigate shit. And then they sit back and watch it all fall apart. And then they pretend to act like they don't even know what's going on. And then they go and tell whoever the fuck next that they're talking to that a terrible event occurred. And they'll talk about all of the way everybody reacted and how they are just left in this situation to be surrounded by people of chaos. And they'll also talk about wanting change all the time. But they're the one in your group who says things like, man, I need this and I need that. And if you've noticed, maybe you were able to offer a solution and they didn't take it. And then they do that again. You know, they're the one who always be saying they need something. Oh, I need my license, or, you know, I wish I could lose weight. And you're like, well, I could buy you a gym membership. And they're like, oh no, this person, I was supposed to start with Rhonda. on Monday. And you're like, oh, cool, great. Well, that's cool. Come Monday, Tuesday, you see him next week. Who gives a fuck? You know, you're like, how'd the gym go, dude? Like, yeah, well, I didn't go because, like, I got sick. Oh, yeah, well, how you feeling? You good? I mean, time will pass with these fuckers, right? But what you're gonna notice from them in particular is that they are repeating the same fucking problem, but they are not taking any solutions, and then they're trying to act like they fucking have problems. And you're like, I don't have time for this shit, bro. There's actually people that want help that take it, and I'm not sitting here wasting my fucking time. And they'll fuck you over too. This is the person that you're gonna think is somebody you can trust with your secrets, but that person is the leak. And well, the last one is called a covert narcissist. And covert narcissists are very quiet. They're the evil, dark, narcissistic little fucking fuckers, man. That will, let's say if there's a fight going on and you're in a relationship, this is the one who's sitting there and doesn't say a damn word. They will literally quietly, okay, so these are the quiet ones. You know the guys or the girls that stay quiet and literally speak 0 words in response? And they'll tell you, you're acting crazy and I'm not doing this with you. They show you no acknowledgement, respect, care. They completely just, it's called stonewalling. You guys can look it up, but it's called stonewalling, and stonewalling is when you're talking to somebody and they're not responding. So there's plenty more to teach there, but, you know, if any of those sound familiar, I would just... How I started to learn what I was dealing with is if I was around somebody that had a behavior that was anything that I wasn't familiar with, I just Google their exact behaviors into my search bar, pulls up all these options and read through it, and eventually you're going to find exactly what they are thinking, how they're thinking, what they do, what you should do, if there's anything you can do to make it better, and also if the relationship is salvageable. So... yeah, don't waste time. If you see it, research it, figure it out, and then the two of your guys' energies together, it'll also say, look up your own personalities and shit. Look up your own stuff. I mean, it's going to tell you when you look up anybody's behavior types, literally, it'll say, these are your options, and you'll just read through, and you're going to kind of put a couple things here and there together. They might have multiple things going on with them, so it may not just be one thing, but eventually you're going to read through a few little fucking things. It's going to be basically all mental health shit, which I love learning mental health, love learning psychology because it helps me to understand the brains that I'm working with and how they think, and that way I don't take it all personal, and I also know what to be aware of. Solve problems. I want to solve my problems. I don't want to bitch about them. So just Google the behavior, and it'll straight up tell you, this is what it is. This is how they can deal with it. This can or can't be cured, and this is a relationship. It'll tell you if you're dealing with somebody with these behaviors, it's going to tell the opposite person if they should or should not stay. And I'm recommending you follow guidance. And if you don't want to tell people you're being abused, I respect that. I don't want to deal with the police and shit. So Google's really, 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 really helpful, and I can help you too. I love you all, and hey, I'm a survivor, and I'm living alone, and it's been 3.5 years, and I haven't let anybody in my house ever do that to me again, and I don't ever want my kids to have to listen to anything like that again. I don't want to just do that anymore, and I want you to know that if you're wondering if you can make it, you can. I didn't plan to break up with mine, and I had just bought the house that I live in right now the very week that we broke up. And he'd come home with a hickey, and I was getting ready for work, and he just came home from being out all night, and he had a hickey on his neck, and I had to tell him to go. And I had to basically triple my money in 14 days. It was due. My mortgage was due in 14 days, and clearly, you know, most of us are sharing a housing situation and kids. Sometimes vehicles. I mean, it's crazy, but in those moments, no matter how much it hurts you to do that, to respect yourself, if you don't, you will never respect yourself for not. There would be no way I could have let him stay here like that after that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to feel like a very good woman knowing that I've seen a hickey from another girl and I kept him in my life. That's not who I am. That's not who you are. And maybe you never had anybody like us as friends here on our channel in your life to know that, hey, you know what, we went through that too. And you're not stupid. You can get out of it. We've all done it. And that's why we're here today together, so that each one of us, while going through different stages, we can be a mentor to the ones that are in the different sections. We also need mentors right now. I need mentor for other thing. You need mentor for your thing. You know, some people need different things. And so that's where we're just like, it's like if you got what this person doesn't, offer them your guidance. If they don't take it and they want to waste your time, just scratch them off. You've done your part. But at the end of the day, if you do feel in your heart, man, this is not right, you're never not going to think that it is right. Like, you're always going to know that your life went off path in that moment. And those are our alarm moments. And every time you're given this opportunity to serve justice. Like, it's not very often that you get to serve justice. And that's justice being served, is when you stand up and say, oh no, I'm actually not okay with that, and I said I would never accept that, and today is the day that I have to actually do what I said I would never do, and to leave people, to walk away without enough money, without anything. I came up to Spokane with, I had to leave everything and relocate, and I just had to take a leap of faith, and I never moved back. For Spokane, it's been about 14 years. It's crazy. But every one of my greatest adventures was unexpected and unplanned. It was just, I was pulled in a certain direction, and I was never able to explain why. And people call my energy very spontaneous, but that's because I roll with my divine. And when my job is done, I know my divine is asking me to move on to the next person now. So I don't look at things like, oh, I can't keep relationships, or why don't I hang out with people? Why don't I want friends? Why don't I want to settle down? Why don't I want to commit? Why don't I want to get married? Because I'm not doing that right now. And for all these years, many of us have felt like we were wrong, or out of line, or out of place, or we weren't fitting in. But you're not here to fit in. You're a traveling agent for your higher power. You travel. You have a traveling light worker job. So if you're single and you do your own thing and you still have yet to feel that ultimate connection, don't doubt it. You're still building a connection with your higher power. When you don't understand what to do, you need to look higher than you, not fucking outwardly. You don't need to be asking your friends what to do. If you're not smart enough to know what the fuck to do and you gotta ask a whole nother fucking person, you're not doing what you need to do. Like, guidance is one thing, but you need to ultimately be, how often are you communicating your plans with your higher power, and do you even have one? He'll always also be there for you and forgive you. I got real scared in prayer a lot because I thought he was mad at me because I wasn't doing what I knew I needed to do. But God will never ask you to not come to him. He loves you. And also, for those of you who don't ask God for help and you have pride and shame, it says that if you have not received your blessings, it's because you haven't asked him for them yet. You need to ask for specific things, because the universe can't send you things if you're just all over. And when people show up to help you, the universe could be sending guardian angels to you in the form of people that you're already familiar with. And you're going to look back one day and realize how you should have taken that help. The suggestions people gave you, the friends that used to be there, and how we pushed them away because we were repeating ourselves over and over and over, but taking no action. In time, things are gonna be very different, and you'll be a different place than you are right now. And I promise, I'm a lot happier today. And does that mean that I'm where I want to be? No, and I don't know where I'm going exactly either. I feel like I'm just being guided, and I just want you guys to trust in the universe and allow yourself to go with the flow of individuality and self-respect.